Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar of the World Bioenergy Association. My name is Christian Rakosch. I'm chairing this association. I'm very happy that you're joining us today to another very interesting series of webinars that we want to broadcast over the next couple of months. Some of you may have already attended some of our previous webinars. We had a series of webinars on the use of agricultural residues for energy. We had some very interesting examples, some interesting stories of countries that were particularly successful in using agricultural residues as source of energy. And we will continue with this series of webinars. But now we are starting a new one. This new series of webinars will be dedicated to countries that have been particularly successful in developing bioenergy use. And we start this series with the country of Lithuania, a country with a really remarkable success story. Lithuania was able to replace a very big chunk of its natural gas consumption by bioenergy. And the purpose of today's webinar is to explain to you how this happened, and also to introduce a number of companies to you that have been facilitating this change, because if you change the energy system, of course, you create also a lot of economic opportunities for new enterprises, for companies that are dealing with bioenergy. And Lithuania has a number of very nice examples of innovative companies that have been quite successful over the last couple of years in developing their business around this national change from fossil fuel to renewable energy. Before we start with the presentations, just a few housekeeping remarks. Please do participate by sending us your questions in the chat. Use the chat function if you want to ask any question, and if we will both see if there are questions after the presentations, after the individual presentations, or at the end, and I will ask the presenters to respond to these questions. Also, we want this webinar to have a little bit of an interactive character. So we are going to present a couple of polls to you to understand your background, your interest in bioenergy, and a few other questions you might find interesting. So between the presentations, we will always have a short poll, a short Q&A session, and then we'll continue. So with that being said, I would like to pass the word to Mrs. Vilma Gaubite from Litbioma, the Lithuanian Bioenergy Association. Vilma, the floor is yours. Please explain to us the success story of bioenergy in Lithuania.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well, and I hope you can see the full screen. Thank you, Christian, very much for such a nice introduction of Lithuania. We are very glad to be the first country to present ourselves, and I do believe we are one of the better examples of biomass energy usage in Lithuania. So today my task is to talk a bit about the statistics of what we have here in Lithuania, how it works, how much biomass we use, etc. So let's not waste the time and start. The first slide I have prepared for you is basically the summary of all different sectors regarding energy use in Lithuania and how much biomass we are using in them. So if we look at the private households, about 80% of their heating, and I will talk mostly about the heating system, otherwise I will mention, is coming from biomass. So it is quite a number when you think about it. Regarding the district heating system and biomass usage in there, the share of biomass is around 70%. Just for a better understanding, in Lithuania, these two sectors are taking almost equal parts or shares. So we have approximately half of the private households and half of district heating system using houses. Our companies, the industry is using about is getting about 1/3 of their energy from biomass, and we expect it to go rapidly as well. And the electricity part, for just for a better understanding and your interest, around 6 to 10% from biomass in Lithuania. Our biggest change and biggest success, I would say, is considered the district heating system change, the change from gas to biomass, exactly as Christian has mentioned. And officially, according to our Ministry of Energy calculations, the price of heating is approximately 45% lower on a national level as a result of biomass energy usage. So once we changed also the price for the users to a much, much better side. And here is also a graph just to show you how this change was made in during the years. And we started about 2000, and you can see the change. The green columns are the biomass share growing, and we see that we have about 70%, and we do expect to have about 80 or 85% our heating coming from biomass once the Vilnius biocogeneration plant will be in action as well. So the change is quite huge. I mentioned the price. Let's see what else did it change in Lithuania. One very important thing, I'm not sure if I can say thing, but very important aspect is the CO2 emissions. Now, when we have officially the European Union strategy that we need to be more green, we need to bring a bigger change, we need to do that faster. It is a really huge change, and it really helps. And we can see the statistics that the CO2 emissions since the introduction of biomass in our district heating system dropped approximately 70%. What did it bring in Lithuania for the companies, for the system itself, for the whole chain of biomass supply? This development and this change has created the conditions for expansion of the entire system in different fields. So now we have very competent companies, very competent institutions working in biomass supply, equipment, technology, production, but also creation of the technology, personally adapted technology for different needs. Our companies are competing in European market quite well without any help from the government, although we know that most of the countries have the help on their side. The science and the knowledge of the science has grown. Biomass trade and trade systems, we will hear about that today as well, are, I would say, a unique thing, which now is also spread in other countries, but basically it is created in Lithuania, and nothing like that was in Europe before. Heating production and digitalization and systematization of the whole process is also getting more and more advanced. So this is basically what I had to show statistic-wise, and I want to give more time for our companies to show the most advanced solutions, the best decisions they are making these days, so they can be competitive in Lithuania, so they can help for other countries to develop as well. Thank you very much. I'm very much open for all the questions, and thank you one more time for this webinar. I think it is very useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vilma. There has been a question actually from Chile. So we have audience all around the world on the price the users pay for heat in Lithuania. Can you give us an approximate number? Of course, there will be different prices from city to city, but approximately.
I believe that for Baltpool system, Andreas, I believe he will talk about that and you can see the change. So let's skip a moment to stay in our webinar.
And another question was, how did policymakers welcome the shift from imported gas to bioenergy? What was the role of policymakers in Lithuania?
It is a very interesting story, actually. I remember a long time ago, 2 ministers back, I was with energy minister at that time, Mr. Rokas Masiulis, back in the Netherlands, explaining our situation and how we are changing. We were not that advanced in the moment, but we were already quite advanced. And in the beginning of his presentation, he said that the biggest support or the biggest reason why we have changed was Gazprom. Because in 2004, once we became a member of the European Union, we were the one country paying the highest fee for gas, although I wouldn't say we are that far from our big neighbor. So it was all political decisions, and we needed to find solutions which help for our country inside and does not allow political interruptions and political guidance, which we did not want. So it was decided after a long time talking and science involvement, etc., that we have a local fuel, renewable fuel, and we have quite a lot. And together with using that, we may even manage our forests better, which actually happened. So it was a long discussion, but the main reason was a need to change. It appeared afterwards also that the biomass is 2-3 times cheaper than gas. Therefore, it was also economical, reason to move forward. But it was all step by step, starting from political abuse.
Thank you very much, Vilma. One last question. Is Lithuania importing energy wood?
Yes, to some extent we are. The biggest our trade partner, if I can say so, is Belarus. We would think that maybe a better balance could work better, but at the moment it is as it is. So yeah, to some extent we do import. I believe it is around 25% of the wood.
And is there an issue with radiation? Do you check if there is radioactivity in the wood from Belarus?
Yes, it is checked. There is a system made with the documentation and everything. We do believe the system could be more strict, but generally we do believe that there are no huge problems regarding this.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Vilma. And now we will we will continue with the interactive part that I already announced. Bharadwaj, could you please show us the first poll? Yes, we want to know your personal background. You are the participants. Where are you coming from? Please click whether you are from bioenergy or related associations, from manufacturers, etc., and then submit your answer. Bharadwaj, how about the result? So there are quite a significant number of persons from associations. That's interesting. So yes, indeed, as an association, it is most interesting to learn on how other countries are doing. 20% are researchers, some persons from government, consultants, technology providers, but a significant part from associations. Great, good result. Next, Paul. What is the most prominent use of bioenergy in your country? Is it for small scale heat, for electricity, industrial use of heat and steam, liquid biofuels, biogas, others? Please mention in the chat. Submit your answer and let's see what the result is. Okay, so let's see the results. Biomass for small scale heat, for electricity and for industrial use of heat and steam. Indeed, biomass for heating is the most economic way of using bioenergy for the time being in most countries in Europe, and that answer is not a big surprise. With this, we are continuing now to our next speaker. Andreas Somalincas, he is the director of Baltpool, and Baltpool has been very innovative and established the first working international biomass exchange. Andreas, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Okay, I will try to share my presentation. Yes. Can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Andreas Somalincas, the head of Baltpool Biomass Exchange. Yeah, so today I would like to present to you the unique decision probably from our country and unique tool. So as Vilma told you, back in 2012, our government was deciding what to do with the heating sector and what energy source we should use to create cheaper heating price and so on. So it was decided to change from gas to biomass, and it was decided that we need to go this way quite fast. And another issue which we had, or our government was trying to solve, so how we need to create effective market that biomass supply could meet rapidly growing demand. And it was decided that, yeah, we need to have effective market and exchange as a tool. Market tool is, yeah, it's effective, and it was decided that we need to create biomass exchange, and that what we are doing. Yeah, so what is the biomass exchange? So biomass exchange basically is online trading place where buyers and sellers meet to trade in biomass products under standardized rules. The tricky part back in 2012, it was that there were no examples of biomass exchange. There were examples of financial exchanges, there were examples of natural gas exchanges, but there were no biomass exchanges. So that was the hardest part, but we tried to do that. What is our vision? Our vision is, yeah, we have working model in Lithuania, and we believe that this tool creates value for the clients, and we started to offer our services also to other countries. And our vision is to become #1 choice for biomass trade in Europe. This is short history of our company. So yeah, we started our activities in 2012. From 2018, we started also new activities in Lithuania. So we launched electronic heat auctions. So we also have electronic trading system for heat energy, and I can answer that question about the price, because yeah, we trading the heat. So the price is around 40 euros per megawatt hour. That's the final price for consumers. Also, we started timber exchange in Lithuania, so we also trading timber products. And also from 2018, as I mentioned it, we started offering services to other countries. So in the beginning, of course, we started the operations in Latvia, Estonia, our neighboring countries. Together with partners, we opened an exchange in Denmark. And last year, we started the activities in Sweden and Finland. Today, we have more than 400 participants from all those countries. Of course, the majority of participants are from Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, so those countries which we are working the longest. And other markets are quite new markets, and that number of participants, just those participants are just registering now. But we can be proud that one of the biggest companies from all region are already registered in our exchange and using this online tool to purchase and sell biomass. Our turnover, which shows that yeah, that's tool really working. So yeah, it's around more than 5 terawatt hours per year of wood chips. This is, we are talking about basically most of the turnover is wood chips. So yeah, that shows that this participants trust the system, and they use it for their biomass sale and purchase. Why to trade in the exchange? So one of the benefit is standard products and contract conditions. So that means that participants, they know that when they make the contract in the exchange, so despite it they don't care what other party will be in the contract, because they know that the same rules and the same product conditions will be applied to them. So that's give them more time and energy to spend on most important things. So it's like price or amount of biomass to decide. Another thing is objective and reliable price. So that means that you always can come to the exchange and check the price level of the wood chips or other products traded in the exchange. And so we calculating those prices, and we believe, yeah, that it's really reliable, because that price is taken from real contracts, and it's not like survey-based price, it's a real contract price. And of course, that's online trading, so that means it's really convenient. You don't need to have face-to-face meetings. You just put the order whenever it's comfortable for you. And we have auctions every Tuesday. So you come on Tuesday, check the results, change the prices if you like, and get results on Tuesday to whom you will be supplying next week, next month, or other delivery periods. And of course, easy entrance and trace. So and trade. So one of our goals was to create the system that every company, every new supplier could join the exchange and start participating immediately in the market. So that means that basically there is no barriers for new market participants. Of course, there is risk management system in place, and I will talk shortly about that later. Yeah, so one of the things, and in all exchanges, you have the same thing. You need to work, that exchange would be working, you need standard products. And if we are talking about wood pellets, that would be easy because we have EN+, we have DIN standards, and those products are quite standardized in European market. But wood chips was different story. We had no standardized products, and when we were talking with the buyers, so it seemed like every buyer has his own product and he cannot change any property. But so this was the first challenge, and we think that we made quite good products. I mean, market really accepted those products and they are trading, and not only Lithuanian companies where we started our activities, but also other companies where we are working, they stick to those products, and actually they approve them that, yeah, those products are logically created. And yeah, so we have 3 products: SM1 best quality wood chips, SM2 middle quality wood chips. They can be made from energy crops, and SM3 worst quality wood chips. They could be made from lodging residues. And we just introduced recycled wood product. We believe that in the future it will be more and more popular in the Europe. We already have few markets like Sweden, Germany, where that products it's quite huge, and we believe other countries will follow this case. But in addition to wood chips, we of course trading also wood pellet products, and those products we choose that our specifications would comply with EN+ certificate specifications. And of course, the participants has the possibility to choose if they would like to trade certified pellets or not certified pellets. For our participants' convenience, we have different contract durations. So shortest contract is weekly contract, and there is even possibility to make the contract today and receive wood chips tomorrow. Yeah, so that means there is shortest contract is currently contract, longest contract half-year contract, and those half-year contracts, they are like heating season contracts and non-heating season contracts. Then we have standard products, and we need to have standard rules, yeah, that everybody would be playing under the same rules. So we have standard contract which stipulates such things like how the quality is determined, what is happening if the non-quality product is delivered, what discounts are applied, how you calculate energy value, how the settlements take place. So everything is in our rules. And as I said, you read once and you know that the same rules will be applied to every buyer and every seller, despite their size or other conditions. And reliability system. So this is also was very important part of our exchange. So yeah, as I said, we accept all the participants, but usually if there is small company and without experience, that participant brings his risk to the system. So therefore, we categorize each of the participants and give him one of the 4 categories. So A category is the most reliable participants, most financially capable participant, and B category is the smallest companies. And depending from that, so A category, they only need to provide order collateral. B category, they have in addition transaction collateral requirement. C and D category, on top of collateral requirements, they have some restriction on trading volumes, but that means that they, despite that, they still can directly participate in the market, and that is real value for those small participants. As I said, we calculate the indexes of traded products, and we to give the market participant the trust of our product prices. We also ask external audit company to check how we calculate and that market participants could trust. So last year, those indexes was checked by Deloitte, and they said, yeah, that they are calculated correctly. Yeah, so this is the prices for wood chips, euros per megawatt hour. So yeah, really, last 2 years was really hard for the suppliers and really good for the buyers, as I would say. So those prices are really low during last 2 years. What questions we are solving today and probably will be solving this year? So that's sustainability. Today we have we would like to create we would like to make the exchange the place where you could easily purchase sustainable biomass. Today we have included 2 certificates, so FSC and SBP. So the buyers can choose that they would like to receive biomass with those certificates. But this year we're working hard to make additional functionalities that the buyers, in addition to those certificates, could also choose, like that they would like to receive just RED II compliant biomass. And in addition to that, we would like to make automatic CO2 calculation in delivery process. So we hope that we will offer those functionalities this year for our clients. Yeah, and yeah, in our website and our trading system, we have trading statistics available for market participants. We also prepare and send for our subscribers trade statistics, so it's always it's possible just to subscribe and receive that information if interesting. Yeah, prices and market information in Baltics and Nordic countries. Thank you. That's all. You can always, you will have this presentation. You can check what newspapers are writing about us, and check how we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. There were a couple of questions. The first one was, do you facilitate cross-border trade or just trade for your local market?
Thank you. Really good question. So yeah, we believe we facilitate cross-border trades. I mean, there are many contracts between Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and yeah. So in the first place, those international players, they feel that the benefit is for cross-border trades.
And Jean-Marc Jossard was asking whether there was what was the impact on small suppliers? Can they survive in a competitive market as you are, I mean, you're in a way increasing competitivity?
Yeah, but in Lithuanian, I mean, there is huge benefit for small suppliers. I mean, because small suppliers, in many cases, they cannot directly participate in the final contract. I mean, because the buyers, they care about reliability, and they ask that all the suppliers participating in tender would have 10 years experience in delivering and 5 million revenues, yeah, something like that. I mean, that was the true story. And what we created, that we take care of risk management, and those D category participants, they can immediately start participating in the direct contracts. And in this way, yeah, middlemen were not in the game because those small participants could participate directly in the market. So in the final, they got, of course, they were competing between each other, but in the final, we believe they got better price than they were getting from those middlemen, where we're in the middle between final user and final supplier and first supplier.
Maybe a final question from my side, Andreas. What is the reason why the prices dropped so extremely low? I mean, €9 per megawatt hour is extremely low. What kind of structural reason was there for this long decline of prices?
Yeah, so there was few how we see. Yeah, so one was really warm winter, not last season, but season before last season. And yeah, usually in the winter time, we had higher prices. Like it was like €18 or something like that. But when there was really warm winter, we had no high price. In addition to that, we had a lot of material, cheap material available from Belarus because of bark beetle situation. And yeah, those two conditions combined, we had really low price, and we didn't have winter price, as we saying. So during the winter period, we still had summer price. Yeah, so we will see how this year, what season will be, but we see that those prices are a little bit higher this year already. So probably because of course we had cold winter, and that material from bark beetle probably is going lower those amounts.
All right.
I know in Europe, yeah, you Christian, you know better. I mean, the Czech Republic, yeah, Germany, they also were affected countries.
Yes, very badly so. Yes, absolutely. And with a similar effect, of course, of prices dropping extremely low. Yes. Thank you very much, Andreas. That was really interesting. And congratulations to the amount of innovation. You keep adding new products, new countries. So brilliant.
Thank you.
And look forward to see how this is going to continue to develop. With this, we are going into the next survey, and that survey is asking a little bit about the feedstocks that our audience is most interested in. So please check the feedstocks you are finding most relevant in your specific context, so we have an idea where interest lies. So let's see the results. Forest harvesting residue, obviously. Yes, that's the economically most interesting one, the lowest cost. Forest processing residues, of course, are also an important one. But it seems like we do have more of a European audience because energy crops such as sugarcane do not present such a relevant importance here for our customers, for our attendees. Thank you very much. And with this, we continue to our next speaker, and that is Valentinas Pelusouras. He is the member of the board of IDEX Baltic Pusbroliai, which is the largest private district heating operator, I should say, in Lithuania. And as we have heard, the district heating was actually the one biggest changing sector in this country. So very interesting to hear your view. – Valentinas, the floor is yours. Please unmute yourself. Excellent. We have the right screen, but we still don't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah. It's okay now?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Okay. Thanks everybody. So yes, my name is Valentinas Belusat from company IDEX Baltic. So I'd like to share our experience in biomass energy business. So first, biomass for Lithuania is sustainable and strategic fuel, and high forest density and developed wood industry provides Lithuania with vast quantities of renewable energy. And as Vilma mentioned, biomass dominates in district heating of Lithuania. And 2019 market share was 70% and forecasted by 2030, 90%. Gas and waste to be pushed out by biomass, and the merit order will be based on CO2 price. The largest waste to energy plants in Lithuania and gas HPs are part of European ETS system, and there is a clear trend upwards of ETS prices. The current price is around 56 euros per ton. And of course, biomass is as well combustible technology, so it will be accompanied in the nearest future by non-combustible technologies. So we forecast that by 2030, 10% of heat in district heating will be produced by solar, geothermal, and other technologies. As well, we understand that renovation of the buildings will accelerate, and it will decrease slightly the market share of district heating, but growing cities of Lithuania should balance that. Sustainable biomass is a regional strategic fuel as a carbon neutral source of energy, and it ensures independence from gas and benefits local economies. And there is a clear focus, as it was in the poll, towards forest and wood industry residues. And switch to biomass enriched Lithuanian economy, first for consumers, because consumers receives green energy and lower prices. As Vilma mentioned, it's minus 45% compared to the times when the district heating was dominated by gas. And as well, it brought innovations into biomass technologies. We have bulk pool biomass exchange, which we are proud. And as well, our market, district heating market, is liberalized because network is separated from heat production, and heat production is based on monthly heat auctions. And renewable energy opportunities attracted local and foreign investors, and we are part of this. So in 2019, leading French district heating company IDEX acquired a portfolio of biomass HPs in two largest markets, Vilnius and Kaunas, and plans further expansion. Same year, we acquired market leader, #2 company in biomass production and trading called Pusbroliai. So as you told, yes, IDEX Baltic is largest private renewable district heating producer. We compete with municipal and state companies. We produce 1 terawatt-hour of energy from biomass, presence in Vilnius, Kaunas district heating markets with 6 HPs and CHPs. The size is approximately 20 megawatts thermal. And we plan Latvian market entry in 2021. And Pusbroliai is vertically integrated biomass company with sales of more than 1 terawatt-hour of wood chips. We had 70% growth year to year. And we have clients in Latvia, in Lithuania, energy industry sectors, and exports to Nordics. So IDEX Group, shortly, it's one of the largest French district heating companies with 1 billion euro sales in 2020 and 50 district heating networks around France. And we had three rationale to acquire biomass company, one of our long-term suppliers. So first was security of sustainable biomass supply to IDEX, because we clearly understand that roundwood chips will be replaced by forest residues because of CO2 neutrality and pressure from furniture industry. Forest residues will provide us green energy status and guarantees priority in district heating merit order. And because Pusvuli had infrastructure focused on forest residues, which we plan to expand. Second rationale was growing biomass demand in Northern Europe. So 40 terawatt hours demand in Nordics, 10 terawatt hour demand in Lithuania, Latvia, and as well demand for sustainable wood chips by furniture factories, IKEA, Vimigi, Eger, Fider, Kronospan, and so on, because we work on these three markets. And as well proximity to intensive forest areas. So products, so this year, 40% of our products goes to, not for energy, but to largest furniture board producers. And just 15% we sell so-called white chips, so high quality chips for energy clients. And 45% we sell to energy clients as forest or wood residues. And our clear target by 2025 to focus on forest residues for energy clients and white chips or high quality chips for furniture producers. Following the acquisition of Pusvuli, IDEX Group has a clear target to introduce ESG and sustainability policy within the company. So currently, Pusvuli should comply with latest sustainability requirements from our clients, and we have all the certification in place. So SPB compliance, FSC, ISO 14001, 9001. We have digitalized tracing system for biomass sustainability and legality. And we have established risk mitigation guidance. And because IDEX Group reports on ESG annually, so Pusvuli are developing now sustainability policy and goals, and we will be part of ESG report in this year. Our goals by 2025 in sustainability is to be in line with RED II directive, EU timber regulation, and IDEX Group ESG policy. And as mentioned before, we will focus on sustainable biomass as forest and industry residues. As well, by using EU grants, we plan to change our diesel trucks to hydrogen or electrical trucks and to charge in own CHP. So if our trucks is coming to our biomass CHP, so we can charge and we can get rid of diesel as a fuel. Few examples what we have done during 1 year after acquisition. So we switched this because Pusvuli was a pure bulk pool spot market player. So we switched from spot market to export sales. And our largest contract is in neighborhood country, Latvia. So we got annual contract for Riga Municipal District Heating Company with 0.5 terawatt hour sales. We source mainly Lithuania, Latvia. So we deliver chips. We have own chippers. So we chip ourselves, we deliver by trucks. But as well, we have 120 owned and rented wagons, and we bring from Belarus. And as well, we have a storage area in Riga Harbor, which is in the picture. Second contract, what we managed to have, it's a contract with Ørsted. So we delivered 5 ships from Klaipėda Harbor to Ørsted, and we plan to double our quantities for the next year by delivering from Lithuania and from Latvia and maybe from Poland. And as well, we're opening opportunities with another clients because we have a long list of Scandinavian clients to reach this year. And Poland, we have 6 clients in Poland. We started our operations. We deliver from Lithuania and from Belarus, by wagons from Belarus and by trucks from Lithuania. So that's shortly what we do.
Great, Valentinas, thank you. That was quite impressive. Let me ask you, I mean, you mentioned that IDEX is a French company that is specialized in district heating. Do you also run French district heating systems on bioenergy, or are you kind of gaining experience in the Nordics and then bringing that know-how back to France. Can you elaborate on that?
So me personally, I represent the minority shareholder in this so-called joint venture, IDEX Baltic. We keep 10% of shares. We used to be a regional developer of all this portfolio of HPs and CHPs. We have started, actually we have been the first private biomass boiler house in Lithuania. So first we had a partner from Germany, a company in our city, Hanover municipality, but we sold the shares to the French guys. So we position ourselves as pioneers of biomass energy in Lithuania. And now we have a new partners. Of course, we share our experience with French colleagues. Our French colleagues in France, we have as well plenty of biomass HPs and CHPs. So we share our experience. But yes, but we have mandate in this region to represent IDEX. So our task to expand in the Baltics through biomass energy assets. And as I mentioned, as a notice, for example, we had discussion with Stockholm Exergy. Stockholm Exergy has the same system, but we have in-house vertically integrated biomass supply company. And in the future, we think it's very important because of the sustainable biomass reach and mainly forest residues.
Right, thank you. That was quite impressive. And so you have been the pioneer from the very first moment with the first bioenergy heating plant in the country. Great. So we continue now with a short introduction by Bharadwaj. Please, first the poll. Yeah, that was kind of looking at the way that our own audience believes bioenergy performs in Europe. What is the share of bioenergy in the final renewable energy consumption in Europe? What do you estimate? Is it smaller than 10% or is it larger than 75%? Please check where you believe what role bioenergy plays within the renewable energy use in Europe. So let's see the answers. Bharadwaj. Oh my God. Oh my God. You are underestimating the role of bioenergy. So those that are interested in bioenergy should know better. 60% is the correct answer. The share of bioenergy in the final renewable energy consumption in Europe is 60%. So much higher than most of you estimated. Maybe some of you thought we were talking about the share of bioenergy in the total final energy consumption. That would be much smaller, of course. But if you only look at its role in renewables, we are very big. Obviously, we have to admit, renewables is still a small part of the European energy budget. So I guess in that case, the answer 10 to 25% would be the right one. Fine, thank you. And with that, I'll just ask Bharadwaj to make a few remarks about WBA, the World Bioenergy Association, that is hosting this webinar today.
Perfect. Just a opportunity to inform the audience again about WBA and the work we do. I'll take a couple of minutes if that's okay. My name is Bharadwaj Kumamuru. I'm the Executive Director of the World Bioenergy Association sitting here in Stockholm. I just wanted to highlight, first of all, thanks everyone for joining in for this very interesting webinar. I see a lot of interesting discussions happening in the chat function. I just wanted to highlight, looking at the registrations, that we have a very wide variety of participants, predominantly from the industry and a lot of them from research as well. And in terms of geography, half of them are from Europe, but we've got an excellent coverage of rest of the world. In fact, we only have, I think, about 7% from Lithuania and the rest from various parts of the world. So it's quite a global audience. So thank you all for joining in. I thought I'd briefly mention the World Bioenergy Association is a not-for-profit NGO located in Stockholm, and our mission is to promote the sustainable development of bioenergy on a global level and ensure the support to the business environment for bioenergy. As you can see, this is kind of a map of where our members come from, highly concentrated in Europe, of course, because that's where we are located as well. But we have a wide representation from close to 65 countries. And members include associations, technology companies, equipment manufacturers, and everyone working in the whole supply chain of bioenergy, and not just solid biomass, but also liquid and gaseous biofuels. And Lithuania, one of our most best member for quite some time. So thanks, Lithuania, for that. And we are glad to do this webinar together with them. And with this membership and our network, we feel we are a very global voice for the bioenergy community. And briefly, what we do: number one, provide the latest information on bioenergy. And I think the share of bioenergy in the EU renewable energy consumption would have been included in our statistics report. So if you need more information, more data on development on a global level, please have a look on our statistics report or the fact sheets or mission reports and so on. We also provide an opportunity for networking for our members. Pre-COVID times, we've organized quite a few study trips and physical conferences. For example, that photo is from a study trip we organized to the US Southeast in Georgia, looking at the forestry practices in the region. We've also organized, as Christian pointed out early, quite a few webinars. All of them are, of course, available on our homepage, the recordings and the presentations. We also provide a global platform for our members. Here, I just want to highlight that we have signed a partnership cooperation agreement with Bioenergy International, which most of you may know is one of the leading English publication, where they've become our official magazine of WBA. So it gives a very good opportunity for our members to highlight technologies or services and so on. And finally, most importantly, we work a lot with bioenergy advocacy at the international level. So for example, whether it's our observer status to IRENA, the Renewable Energy Agency, or the UNFCCC, we take that quite seriously to put bioenergy on the world map. And that photo is from our press conference we've organized at the COP25 in Chile a couple of years back. And we look forward to COP26 in Glasgow with significant interest. So again, if you're interested to know more about us, want to know more about the data on bioenergy, or wish to join us as a member, please get in touch with us. The more information is available here, but I'll also follow up after this webinar with everyone who's joining in. Thanks, Christian. So it's back to you again.
Thank you very much, Bharadwaj. That was a short sales pitch. So we are really looking for members. Please think about it. If you want bioenergy to thrive, you want to have active and strong organizations that are pushing this agenda, and that is important, because without a common voice, it's not so easy to develop a sector. So thanks for that. And we continue now with Adomas Pesliakas. He's sales manager of UMP Technica, another company from Lithuania that is active in the field of bioenergy. The floor is yours.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Adomas and I represent UMP Technica company. So we are hydraulic briquetting presses producers. We are #2 worldwide, and every year we are producing around 70 pieces of hydraulic briquetting presses. Worldwide leader #1 is produce around 150 pieces of hydraulic briquetting presses. So we have a company with 30 years experience. We have 30 employees, and annually we generate around 4 million euros turnover. And today I would like to talk how we are helping to woodworking industry to deal with residues, and from problems to solutions. So from their problems to solutions, what we can offer to them. So our solution is briquetting. And always when we visiting our customers, woodworking companies or furniture producers, we see their environmental. And okay, how it looks their environmental. Yeah, for example, we see very nice factory in the middle of Norway. They are producing very nice floors, and they have huge hills of residues. So one example. Another example is from our own company group. It's like primary woodworking residues. Yeah, they have problem what to do with such huge hills. On top of that, logistics sector have also residues. So a lot of pallets, all pallets. So what we need to do with this problem? And always business people who are working in that sectors, they have a couple solutions to the problem, but you know, most of the people, they choose the cheapest, fastest, and they think is the best solution. What means by cheap, fast, and good? It's just you sell wood waste as is, and you can get from 10 till 20 euros per ton. Of course, depending from the seasonality, demand, supply on the market, prices can be higher or smaller, but in average, if you are selling like residues to the municipality heating, you are getting from around 20 euros per ton. And just you as businessman, you are looking for residues from your production packed to the trucks and going to the heating. Okay, what is, and usually it is wood chips heating, 20 euros per ton. What is our solution? We always recommend 4 steps for our partners: invest, produce, sell, and earn money. First thing, invest. In order to start briquettes production, you need invest in equipment. It is shredding in order to shred your wood residues to sawdust. Second step is briquetting, hydraulic briquetting press. And third is packing machine. Depending from your capacities, of course, maybe you will need 2 briquetting presses, 2 shredders, 1 packing line. All equipment depends how big you are. But there are 3 steps: shredding, briquetting, packing. And it's approximately how much cost investments in each of the steps, production steps, like shredding around 20,000–30,000 euros, briquetting press 50–60,000 euros, and the most expensive is packing line, price starting from 50,000 euros. And second, you are producing briquettes. Okay, it can be produced from biomass, sawdust, wood chips, tobacco, cotton, straw. We can produce equipment for briquettes from any biomass, we can briquette everything. Third, sell. Good. So this summer, wholesale price for 1 ton of the briquettes is from 80 till 90 euros. So it means traders coming to your factory, just picking briquettes and paying you from 80 till 90 euros. In the retail price, 1 ton of the briquettes is 120–130 euros per ton. So your fourth step is earn. If we are compared with wood chips heating, where you get around 10–20 euros per ton, selling to traders, you are getting 80–90. If you are a smart businessman and you have channels, you have good relations with do-it-yourself stores, you even go to retail and you can earn from 120 till 130 euros. And if you are investing in such equipment for briquetting, your average payback is in 3-4 years. This year, it's our last project. This year, we are building a huge factory in the middle of Lithuania. This factory will be from 2 parts. On the left side of the screen, you see first part is automated sawdust storage, transportation, drying facility, where is prepared all residues from woodworking industry. So we are preparing residues, and on the right side you see briquetting line with fully automated, with automatic pelleting, packing. And such factory will produce 2 tons of briquettes every hour. This factory cost only equipment approximately only about 500,000 euros. And if everything is okay, payback will be in 2 years. So this is our last project, which we are implementing now. And my last slide is funny because, of course, later on you can watch this on YouTube. But we also sold briquetting presses United States, and one of our customers is briquetting horse manure for heating. So even you can briquette and you can use for heat horse manure. So that's it, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Adomas. That was very interesting. You can see here the video. So it's quite amusing. Turns out that the briquettes from the horse manure do not have a bad smell, which is a surprise, in fact.
Yeah.
So do have a look at this video. I wanted to ask you one question, Adomas, and that is, what is the level of humidity that must be achieved to be able to make a good briquette? How dry must your material be before you can briquettize it?
It must be dry around 8%.
8%. So it
Yes.
has to be totally dry.
Yes, totally dry.
Humid doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not working because it will not stick. It must be dry. Why producers are using drying boilers? The residues must be dry.
And you were showing most of the time the same type of briquette. Do you have different geometries or sizes of briquettes, or do you just stick with one size?
It's actually according to customers. It's no problem to produce like poinçon in the middle of press is like poinçon, where you can make any kind, any type of size geometry. So no problem, because actually different countries have different history, different geometry, and we are delivering to United States, to UK, to Ireland. They have different geometry.
Okay, fine. That was interesting. Good to know. Great. Adomas, then thank you very much. If there are further questions to your presentation, we can still, I cannot see any question at the moment, so that we can then you can still answer the questions at the final round if some questions show up.
Good. Thank you.
So we have prepared 2 more short questions. Please, Bharadwaj. First question. What is a significant challenge for bioenergy deployment in your country? Please think about it. Is it the lack of knowledge? Is it the cost? Is the lack of favorable policies? Is there a lack of market access for bioenergy? Is there a lack of availability of commercial technology or others? Please Select what you find is the most significant challenge for bioenergy in your country. So, no favorable policies seems to be the most frequent reason. And that, of course, calls for interest organizations, because if policymakers do not address bioenergy as an opportunity, it's mostly because they're not aware of it, because there is nobody pushing them, nobody communicating with them. And that is exactly the role of interest organizations. And that's why it is important for you to support your local interest organizations and, of course, also your international interest organizations. And there is another question. How can national global associations help promote the bioenergy sector in your country? By policy papers addressed to governments, by events, by publishing the latest data, by connecting with relevant stakeholders, or by others? Please select your answer. Interesting answer. Connect to relevant stakeholders. So form alliances with other stakeholders to be more vocal. That's an interesting one. And the second one was policy papers addressed to governments. Thank you very much for that answer. That was a good way of reflecting a little bit on our work as interest organizations. So let's close this. And there was a question here from a participant that's asking, how can we use the technology of recycling? And I think he refers to briquetting in countries that cannot have such a technology and that do not have these machines. Adomas, do you also look at exporting to developing economies your machines?
So no problem. Actually, we are exporting to United States, to Russia, to Ukraine, to all the Europe. So if somebody would like to be our dealer, distributor, so we are ready to cooperate. So it's our interest. We have service support, we have spare parts. Yeah, you know, I don't see here any problem. Just contact me and that's it.
Well, Adamas, I think the question was coming, I suppose, probably from Africa, where there's a lot of biomass, but very little utilization of biomass. And in these countries, there is a lack of technical know-how, there is a lack of financing. So it's not that straightforward as exporting to the US. Any answer to that question?
Yes, it could be answered. You know, the biggest briquettes traders, they are sitting in Denmark, yeah? Danish guy like to trade, so they are buying from Russia, from Ukraine, they are trading everywhere. So if there are coming questions from Africa, I know business models in Russia where traders investing into the production of briquettes in equipment, and they guarantee to buy briquettes for certain period of time. So it means the producer have guaranteed demand so he need only supply. And I think this could be solved.
That's an interesting answer. So that could be a way of even financing the investment if there is an abundant source of raw material. So I'll leave it to our interested person to contact you directly and to explore the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So let's contact me directly and we will find some solutions. So not a problem.
Thank you, Adamas. And that brings us to our last but not least participant. It's Tadas Lukosevicius. I'm sorry for poor spelling. It's a complicated name, Tadas. But
no problem. Not the first time.
And Estonia is one of the very successful boiler manufacturers of Lithuania, and I guess this company was growing strongly with the demand in Lithuania, correct?
Yes, very correct. And our experience is really relying on the lessons learned in the Lithuanian market.
The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So hello, everyone. Thank you for this great opportunity to share our and Estonia experience in the market, in Baltic market, where we grow up. And we are trying to expand to the Western market, Nordic markets in general at the moment, more or less at the Europe. Through this presentation, I would like to share some basic information. So one thing is to see what kind of structure, what kind of organization we are at the moment. It took us some years to do that. Secondly, to present shortly what is the portfolio of our projects, of our products. And the third, what is our experience in the Western markets in other countries and how it is going on there. Next slide. Yes, so this is our company, and Estonia Group is a holding company. It was implemented almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago. And each of the cell here is really crucial for us. It took us, as I mentioned, almost 90 years to do that. But as we say in our days at now, each of the cell is really crucial in the selling point, in the implementation phase, in maintenance phase. So just shortly, design and production phases or cells. We have our own company who is doing process and automation design, who can produce control cabinets. We can control our systems and supply these services for our customers. So this is great advantage that we can supply not only hardware, but also software for each of the boiler plant. An Estonia design company or business unit is also really critical thing. Since 10 years ago or 5 years ago, we had a situation that in Lithuanian market or in Baltic market, we had like 95% of our projects. So local Lithuanian engineering company was really important thing. At the moment, for example, last year, our portfolio of projects was comprised 95% of export projects. So the change in this business unit was huge, but we still keep our basic and core competences for technology, for process and piping, and to design the whole process of each of the boiler plant to provide a proper solution for each of the customer. We have our production site. Production site is located here in Kaunas in Lithuania as the whole company. Also, I want to highlight our R&D center, which comprise of the real scientists, which are related to various of institutes and universities. As a supplementing to this activity, we also have our experimental boiler house, which we implemented with the subsidies from Europe Union. Also, we have our own accredited laboratory, which helps us to properly evaluate each of the customers' demands and to provide a proper solution. And the sales and project management and services units. In general, the main company is in Estonia, but in each of the company, we have some kind of cooperation. Previously, it was more or less like a strategy to have separate companies. For example, in Latvia, in Suomi, we have, but now more and more, we are relying on the partnerships. It doesn't matter. It might be companies like a general contractors or agents or other technology suppliers with whom we can go together to the project. But with the extended geography of the project, it is crucial part, and it's one of the most focused part now at the moment. And also in Estonia service is really important because our job is not only to build the boiler house, but to make sure that it will be run for long years. It's just a short numbers, just to imagine what kind of organization we are talking about. So at the moment, we are present in 11 countries. We have implemented around 200 plants. Like 75% of these plants are located in Lithuania. And now we're more and more expanding to foreign countries. Our team comprises of around 150 employees through the whole group. And 70% of that employees are qualified engineers, which is really important in creating additional value for our customer. Since we have our all competences in-house, we can secure a really good short project lead time. And it might be even shorter than the market average. This also creates a value for our customer. Our product portfolio, which is the core for our business. We are producing biomass combustion systems. We have different types of combustion systems that can adapt to the various type of fuels. In general, there can be two separated things for low humidity and high humidity fuels, like briquettes, what we were discussing, or pellets. And on the other side, wood waste or forest residues, or SM1, SM2, SM3, what we saw in bulk pool presentation. Then boilers, we have three types of boilers for district heating systems, usually hot water boilers with the various parameters. For industrial users, steam boilers, also with the various steam parameters, up to 25 bars, for example, of steam. And also steam boilers for smaller or micro CHP plants from 1 to 10 megawatts of electricity. And also flue gas condenser, which is really nice solution. In general, this is equipment where we started our company with. And each of the company here in Lithuania are trying to use these equipment just to acquire additional 25 or 35% of energy from the flue gases what they have. For that, of course, you have to have proper conditions, like high humidity in the fuel, low returning temperatures, and it's really nice that systems of, for example, district heating systems adopted to these systems. So this is what we've done through the years, and this is where we are now. And I will just review a bit our portfolio, what the projects where we are working right now at the moment. So as I mentioned, we are active in Lithuania for almost 20 years. A lot of systems in district heating industry, various types of fuel, agro-fuels, biomass. But since in Lithuania, it's almost 75–80% of energy is provided from biomass, there is not a lot of market left And in Lithuania, there is a great number of employees, competitors that can participate. So the only chance for us to survive or to continue and run our business was to go abroad. So there are some examples. For example, in the Netherlands, this is nice projects. We had already 3 projects. All of them are in the green markets. And this is really important to notice that each of the market has its own specification. And each of the company are selecting the market based on their technology, of course, what they have, but also on the market conditions. Are there economical conditions, subsidies maybe there are, maybe the price of the fuels, alternative fuels, what are environmental requirements, what are political, social things. For example, Netherlands in this case is really interesting because a few years ago there was a subsidies. They were pushing a bit biomass, but now at the moment they are at the nitrogen crisis, and the opinion about the biomass is really fluctuating in the social media and in general in situation. For example, also the market is really different because there's a really high demand for the automation systems because labor is very expensive. Also, BOO, build, own, and operate companies are really active in the market. Another example is Poland. We have a few projects in Poland. One is 7 megawatt, one is 15 megawatt. Both the projects are for district heating system. Differently when in Netherlands, in Poland, you have to go as a general contractor, turnkey projects, public procurements. The prices are really competitive. A lot of Lithuanian companies and companies from Austria, Germany are participating in these, and there's a high pressure on the price. But in general, the requirements from the customers are more or less similar as in Lithuania, and we feel good there as in our home market. For example, Estonia and Finland, there's again different stories. Finland in general is very sophisticated market, as all Scandinavian market. They know what they want, and there are very big demands for the suppliers. For example, in Finland, there's a represented one case in a xylitol factory where the fuel is planned to be old husk, and this is first production system for xylitol in the world, and the fuel is planned to use as a product bypass or waste from the production. So without our R&D system, without our engineering capacity, without our project management competences, we would not be able to participate in such complex and such sophisticated projects. This helps us to be there and to bring our technology to Finland. In Estonia is a different story and different fuel. For example, in this boiler plant, which is running already 2 months now, the main fuel is meat and bone meal. And again, this is really complicated fuel, and without our R&D system and adoption of our combustion system, we would not be able to fulfill the requirements. For example, participating in Czech or Serbia, we are participating with the partners, not directly as a contractor, and we are supplying only equipments. But there are a really big competition, and particularly on the price-wise. So what I want to say in general, that each of the market, each of the segments where we are participating has really different requirements, and in order to understand what the market is need, what the customer is demanding, you have to be there and you have to understand them. Only in this case you will be able to provide the proper solution. And this is just an example of the values for the customer or different approaches what market is reaching. In general, in the end, each of the customer will have some kind of boiler house, but one of them wants performance values like OPEX, what kind of fuel they will be used, how much of that, how much of ash yield will be, what will be environmental conditions, and maybe it's important for them. Also, what will be consumable. Others are focused on the guarantee values and then contractual conditions. Others are important just maintenance strategies because they are buying the boiler house for 12 or 15 years and they want to be secure. And of course, in each of the market, they are focused on the whole technological islands, and they are going into deep when they are discussing about that. So there are different approaches, different values, what each of the segment can get from the company, which brought our experience from Lithuania. So thank you for your attention, and as it's written, come visit us.
Thank you very much, Tadas. Very interesting and very impressive development, and a lot of competence in your company. There is a question whether you can see that increasingly also other industries than the woodworking industries are buying biomass boilers. So do you see decarbonization as an opportunity for your company, and what kind of sectors are you finding particularly interesting?
In general, we are open to all of the sectors. Just from the experience, I can say that of course, in Lithuania, it was this situation that like 75% of our all projects were related to district heating system. But at the moment, maybe 50% of the projects are related to district heating system, where they want not to change, but supplement their existing systems. Because, for example, if they have natural gas, it is good reserve fuel. They are conserving or having in hot reserve these boilers. And for the basic loads, they are using biomass, therefore switching fuels and supplementing the system. So district heating system is a great part. Another part, industrial consumers. I would say that half of them are willing to buy the fuels, but half of them are willing to use their bypass products, like waste from their production. Either it is wood, either is the agro fuels, or some different type of fuels, various it might be. So yeah, more or less these are the structure of the customers and where we are focused on.
And do you see an increase of demand? I mean, we have the European Green Deal. There is a lot of talking about decarbonizing the industry. Do you feel that in the market already, or do you expect that you will feel it later on?
As a general, like Europe Union, you cannot say that, okay, in Europe we feel, but each of the country has its different approaches and different tools how to implement these. So some countries have subsidies, some parts do not have. In some countries there are more developed, for example, natural gas systems. The prices are low, and even without subsidies, there might be that payback of the system. It will be 10 or 15 years, and everyone is calculating. So therefore, economical things are really important. What we see at the moment, for example, in the countries like in Netherlands, that social system is really, or social environment is very important, because every week you can read the articles in the newspapers, in the internet, where spreading their doubts about sustainability of biomass. They don't want to import things. They want to be sure that it will be sustainable, regional sources. So various of factors, and in each of the countries is really, really different story. As a whole, Europe, yes, you can see the trend, that it's going to the green side, but with the different tools in each country.
Right, thank you. So it's a very differentiated market indeed. Very last question before we close this. It comes from Paul Anderson, and he is very interested in the possibility of capturing carbon and putting it into the soil in the form of charcoal. And basically the technology to do so is gasification. Is gasification on your screen as an alternative to combustion? Is that already relevant for your company, or do you see a trend towards that developing?
Yes, gasification is really interesting, and not only gasification, but also liquefying of the biomass. So this is one of the activities that our R&D is working with the colleagues from Finland, from Germany, from big companies like VTT, Neste, and therefore our experimental boiler house is implemented, and we've prepared equipment to test how it should be done and what the results might be. So at the moment, it's just a test regimes, but we are working on that, and then we are trying to do our best to support this market.
Excellent. Thank you very much. With that, I think we are coming to an end. I would like to thank all participants for joining, for staying with us for the last 1.5 hours. I would like to thank all the presenters, and I would like to congratulate Lithuania to the excellent example you're stating for all other countries in terms of transitioning from fossil fuel use to bioenergy. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.